So maybe we'll give a few minutes for people to come drop by. But quick, I guess, reintroduction to our list. I'm trying the fourth card rotation in the sideboard just to maximize our silver bullets, and I'm also trying the anti-doomsday package, which is Ipnu Rivulet and the one drop to where is it? The one drop to hardcast it if need to be. There's one Birch Lore to facilitate the white mana for Archon in a pinch, but I think I like Peatland over the Horizon Canopy in almost every other spot besides when you actually need to cast Archon. So I'm just gonna rely on not having a Reclaimer for a land to hardcast Archon. Um, in most instances, you're not gonna need to anyways. Every once in a while, you're gonna hard because the matches where Archon is relevant is typically ones that are fast. So you're not going to really get into a late game where you need a hard cast that much, aside from game ones that go long against maybe Miracles or any slower control deck. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. I think it's been 2 months now since the first posting of our like on MTG Goldfish of our crop rotation list. So I don't know how many people are aware of the package, but it's significantly faster than before. This is essentially a green Rite of Flame or green Dark Ritual on our turn 2 in matches where we value the speed. Um, and I think anybody who knows this deck or is familiar with the deck knows that it was probably a half turn slower than, excuse me, a half turn slower than the other build in my opinion before, because if they can pair Heritage Druid with Nettle Sentinel together, that's a little bit more explosive than our previous lists. Now I think crop rotation changes that, and I think if anything we might be slightly faster now too, because there have been a lot more turn 2 natural orders that have been enabled because of crop rotation, and I think at minimum we're just as fast as the other lists now with the resiliency of um, Elvish Reclaimer. Obviously I'm biased, but I think all lists, regardless of which version you want to play, needs to be playing this card. It is completely broken in my opinion. Um, so if I mentioned this in my Discord channel, but if I wanted a build for speed, what I would do is you can cut the Reclaimers and play 4 Heritage Druid, and that essentially is a lot better because crop rotation does what Nettle Sentinel does, but with fewer steps, in my opinion. And I value Once Upon a Time too much to trim that. Obviously, Scavenging Ooze does work in the graveyard matchups or against Rug Delver or any Delver deck in particular. So I still want access to it. Okay, I think everything else is pretty straightforward. I think we just want to maximize our bullets. It's possible I cut the Rex stage, but we'll see how it goes. There is a lot more Moonstompy now, so that's why I'm playing or testing at least Rex stage. Because the one disadvantage, I guess, of running crop rotation is I agree. So I think so. Josh is echoes my sentiment. I think Reclaimer is the best creature in the deck, and I don't think it's particularly close. And I would put my reputation on the line to say Reclaimer is actually the best one drop in Legacy. Um, I don't think it's close. I think the difference between playing Reclaimer or not is the difference between playing Deathrite Shaman and Landlord or Else before, for what it's worth. Like, you can play without it and you might be more explosive, but I just think the card does way too much not to play. Like, there's too much text. So, I completely agree with Josh. So, like, if you don't want to play, don't want the resiliency of Reclaimer, yeah, Once Upon a Time, I think, is the second most broken cantrip in Legacy, only behind Brainstorm. Like, I mentioned this on a prior stream, but I believe my rankings for cantrips is in Legacy at least is Brainstorm, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then there's Once Upon a Time, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then probably Ponder or Stirrings, but Stirrings is very um, narrow. But it free is broken, and I think that's why like Gataxian Probe is banned, for instance, because same thing, right? Like Once Upon a Time is so good for helping smooth out your hands, and in decks where you don't want to just mulligan to the nuts, and I don't think we want to do that as an elf deck because we're a critical mass deck. I think this is a mold. Like this is already a 6 with Crater Hoof, and then you don't really want two Glimpse of Nature. Um, I think it's gonna be tough, Josh. The reason being is because there's not that many hits off Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time tends to be best in uh, a deck where you have high value targets, such as so it's good I think in something like Elves where you have Guy's Cradle or Posts where you have Cloud Posts. Mulligan. I think it's decent in depths too, like potentially. But I think with Delver, the problem is twofold, right? You don't have one premium target now that, especially since Arcanus is banned, and you don't have a fail rate that's high enough where, or that's low enough to so you don't whiff. I think this is a keep. I'm gonna bottom the natural order because we don't have that much acceleration, so it's a hedge. But yeah, I do believe Once Upon a Time is broken, and I think the reason not to play is if you're gonna mulligan to the nuts every time. But I don't think as a critical mass deck we want to be doing that. So there seems to be some kind of bug lands deck. Yeah. This is not really the matchup I want to face, to be honest. Yeah, you would have to build a, but the power field is there to make. It's possible, yeah. Also, low key, uh, next level play is uh, Once Upon a Time. Whole priority brainstorm in response is something I've seen done in like Cephalid Breakfast, which is pretty sweet. Take the cradle, obviously, and then we were up. The other thing Once Upon a Time does that matters a little bit in our deck, but probably can get more value out of other decks is it helps towards threshold. So, oh, so they're playing Force of Will too. Um, so it's relevant for us because of Cabal Pit, but I can imagine like for Tomagorth reasons or other reasons, it being relevant there too. I think here they may loam again and waste us again. We can hope to get them with the crop rotation. I mean, we need a ramp regardless. The question is whether to expose a cradle, and I think the answer is yes. And keep crop rotation up because we can natural order next turn. And they may walk into this. We'll see. If they don't, it's good for us regardless. If I'm from their perspective, it's like highly suspicious. I leave the cradle just hanging around here. Sure. Um, Here I'm just gonna get a fetch and then deck thin. Euroland seems nuts too. Hey Jacob, how's it going, man? So Jacob Corey is a local resident in our SoCal area. Most famously known for playing Tin Fins and various vintage decks. Uh, Thanks. I'm just gonna fetch Trop here just to bluff. Like it doesn't. There's no reason not to. And I think we can stop the loam engine potentially, but I don't know if that's like a winning strategy. I think we need to start applying pressure. So I'm gonna get a visionary. Like they're gonna waste us potentially again next turn, and I think we just want to cast Archon now. Maybe it's a Euro. I don't know. Oh jeez. This is any lands-based matchup is not easy too. Oh, so they're gonna escape Euro. I'm a little bit surprised by this because they're just tapping out to die, potentially to a natural. Maybe they're counting on the fact that we don't have it. But if we can like visionary, well, this can block too. That is the other thing. So had we got Ooze, I think we would be losing this race because we have to win soon before the Euro takes over. This is an issue at the moment. I do, but I don't think Archon is gonna win here against a Euro. Jacob is the issue. Like I think our winning line involves going wide. Like we would just get outclassed by the Euro, unfortunately. And that which is why I'm saving the natural order. Um, for the potential kill if we can draw well. The other line possible is to find Waterwood, but I think I'd rather just play the percentages here. So we do have outs like Queer and Ranger is a kill here. If my math is potentially right. Yeah, exactly, Jacob. So Jacob also, I didn't mention this earlier for Chad, but longtime Elves player before. Unfortunately, he sold his stuff, which which made me sad. But he's one of the OG Elf players, and for those who remember, he's best known for killing with Emrakul before when it was mono green. Hmm. I think here we got to get rid of the loams. Um, Actually, let's do this. What's up, David? How's it going, man? I think in case they do anything, uh, we'll do it on their upkeep. Oops, wrong one. But like we need to be able to go wide here to be a neuro. They may end step decay or something, based on the mana that's left up. Oh, that's a good point. There is no bog in the main, so we cannot do that. Man, okay. Yeah, I'm so used to having the bog main, which it was there for a while. So we cannot do that. The reason why no bog is I wanted room for the first scavenging ooze. The good thing is we do have double protection against wasteland here. If they attack with Uro, they're probably gonna put in two wasteland and try to take us off once we reclaim her and protect the first waste from again. Yeah, we're probably dead. I agree with that. We have to draw real well here to get out of it. It hurts because we really needed the arbor. So the heads up play for them here is like wasteland and then force us to respond and then wasteland again. Man. Yeah, I think we're dead here. I'm gonna save chat some time and just concede. Uh, if it were like a big event, I wouldn't concede there on the spot because you never know when people make mistakes or whatnot. But we're pretty dead there if everybody plays correctly, and I don't think they would mess up from that board state. Caracas is very good given Uro and potentially Dark Depths. I think we want the crop rotation, and we're boarding as if we're playing as lands. The difference here is I don't share this too often, but shout out to Tim Schultz, who I've consulted with, lands expert, if he's online. But against these blue-based decks, I tend to like blue-based lands deck. I tend to like Progenitus better, and against the red versions, with Glacial Chasm especially, I like Archon better. And then I just want speed in this matchup. Like, you don't really want to get into grinding affair against them. Like, it's cute to run Collector Oof, but I think that's... I don't like those kind of cards where they're either really good or really dead. There's an argument to be made for Rex Sage because of Exploration. So I'm going to bring that in. And you can hit Mox Diamond with it as well. I think this is pretty straightforward. Yeah, we had to get lucky there, and we essentially ran out of time. I think this is fine. Like, we're keeping based on the power of natural order. Ooh, that is kind of dangerous. We can't just not do anything and pass because that's telegraphed that we have the crop rotation. If they have the wasteland, so be it. Like, we have to develop a board to win the game anyways. The cheese play here from the other side would be wasteland us go. But that assumes that we don't have a cradle or something in our hand. We do have a lot of live land top decks. So, and if they don't have the wasteland, then we're probably okay. Alright, there it is. So they're going for the cheese play. And we got lucky there. We're not going to play around a second wasteland here. Like, we have a kill next turn if they don't do anything. Yeah, see, like, the upside was just too high. Like, they went for the cheese play. We had a lot of outs. We drew one of our, I guess, 19 or 18 lands that we could have drawn, and then like continue to roll from there. Like our hand was very good. I don't think I changed anything here. Like in the event our opponent knew what happened, if they watch this replay later or whatever, they're probably gonna think we got lucky. But the truth of the matter is, like, you can't really pass with those hands, and so if it just so happens that they waste you out of the game, then you can't. Because I don't enjoy just keeping up, holding up crop rotation. You probably win the game, which is what happened. And we did have like one third, or actually more than that, because you already drew 8 cards from the deck that were live. So same thing. I think here we have 2 lands already. I don't think we want a third one, so I'm gonna take the Visionary. I should have actually played the Force. Yeah, that was a mistake. Not because of Stifle, but we got punished a little harder there. But I think we play the Force there because in case we need it for a fetch or to fetch for Arbor later on. It's kind of frustrating that they had the Stifle though, which is, I mean, it tells me that my opponent just doesn't think they can win the long game, so they just want to cheese a win. Like the card Stifle is very high variance. We're not gonna run that into a second Stifle. I mean, we can easily play around it too, like once we know about it to get the Progenitus or something. I think Stifle personally is really bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, people have and will continue to get me sometimes with it, but I think the EV on it on average is very low. Like it's either potentially good, but may not even matter to do nothing. And I think in this case, it's probably going to end up not mattering. Like it set us back on mana, which hurts, but if we had played it correctly there, I think the game may be different. So this is kind of unfortunate. Like that turn one playing the wrong land, and not that we were played around Stifle. It's more so that I wanted the fetch to fetch for Arbor potentially later on, but looks like we're gonna reward our opponent for the, in my opinion, not very good play of keeping in Stifle. I was actually thinking to myself earlier this week, it might be funny because if you play worse in leagues, and if you end up getting punished by and lose, your opponents may not have the prep for bigger events because of the misleading information that they gleaned from the game. So that's almost like a next level, like lose so you can win in a bigger event kind of gameplay, so to speak. We're hoping they tap out here. Exactly, Josh. That was something I was thinking about actually. So if they tap out here, we bounce the Karakas, take Jace off the board, and we're actually back in the game. We'll see what they do. They're probably thinking about whether to play removal or not. Hmm. It probably is low EV, Josh. I think we probably punted this game with the inadvertent fetch or playing of the fetch earlier. Unfortunately. So at minimum, we get to play our visionary here, so it's not the end of the world if they, well, they probably have the removal. Brutal. Yeah, I think this game would have been different if we had led with the land, but I already clicked too early, so we're getting pretty punished here. I mean, the good thing is we're not under tremendous pressure. So a hard, if we draw a natural order, we're back in the game. We can go wide. A top deck cradle would be fantastic here. So let's see if we can unpunt, but we punted earlier. We gave them a stifle, a free stifle, and set us back on mana for no reason. It's kind of interesting that they're playing stifle. Well, stifle is for the Euro too, so they can stifle the sacrifice trigger, which is cute, I guess. But seems kind of, I don't know. Yeah, we can activate Shepherd as is. It gets a little worse now because of the Strix. But we can take Jace now off the board. Nope, never mind. It's kind of interesting that they're playing Assassin's Trophy, like over Decay. But we're not getting the Leo off anytime, so we might as well play all our guys. Like we want to make sure natural or top deck bails us out here. And we probably punted this match, but it's okay. Yeah, that's for sure. The game was lost, like I said, because we played the fetch instead of the basic by accident. So close. I think here we take Jace off the board. What we should have done was actually this is fine. Potentially we attack first before playing the bog, but I think it's fine. So I did drink a lot of water leading up to this. Yeah, because Leo's on the board. That's why. Like they don't have a Loam or Oral that we care about yet. If they did, I would bog them and give them the card. So a top deck Cradle here gets us steals us the match. I'm curious how high their blue count is here. Jace again? Oh jeez. All right, I think that's game. I, yeah. I'm just gonna concede. Yeah, that was on me, chat. I punted this game away. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta use the restroom real quick. Be have 30 seconds, and I apologize in advance too. I still have the old Bojuka Bog wait screen. All right, I'm back. Oops. Ooh, thank you for the raid. 90s Magic. Yeah, for everybody who or is just tuning in, I punted the previous match just right now with the accidental click of the wrong land on turn one, and opponent happened to have the stifle. Legacy Pit, nice. How's it going? How's it going, Roland? Yeah, so I don't know if you guys caught it right now. Hey, Luke. But I punted round one, game three by playing the wrong land. Thanks for the follow, Roland. Appreciate it. So normally I would lead with a basic because I want to save my fetches for Arbor, and I just clicked on the wrong one by accident, and we got heavily punished by Bug Lands deck with Stifle. Thanks for the follow, Anycam. Am I pronouncing that? Anycam Amjin. So we'll see if we can redeem ourselves here. Oh hey Ryan, how's it going? Oh, Enigma machine backwards. Sure. So nice, high good luck, have fun from our opponent. I hope that doesn't mean they're on a chalice or turn one combo deck. It could be Moonstompy here. Nope. Tess or Belcher. Actually, maybe Ruby Storm. Yeah. Yeah, it's elves. The best tribe. Okay, that was not a good draw there. Actually, in this matchup, I should have led with the Trop because they have to respect days. But it's only a league, so I'm like, don't care too much. Like, I'm not gonna spend 5 extra seconds to think about that. So a Shepherd fan, not a Reclaimer fan, right? The thing is, I've thought about this in the past, Roland, and you can make an argument. Elves actually is playing the 3 best 1-drops, the 3 green 1-drops in Legacy, in Reclaimer number 1, Shepherd number 2, and this is a little bit of a stretch, but Wirewood number 3. Crop Rop is a very good card, and I think actually all elves that should be playing that card, based on my testing with the card so far. All right, we're probably dead. Nice, they fizzled. All right, we are hoping to top deck an elf here, but if we don't, it's not the end of the world. That's not bad. Speaking of Crop Rot. Yeah, this card is essentially Dark Ritual for elves. And I have been very impressed with the 3 copies I'm playing. I think we're gonna end step fetch for not fetch, well sort of. Crop Rot for Gaia's Cradle. So kind of awkward for them. They can't cast their Past in Flames here. Yeah, hopefully plenty of time. We'll see. This deck is pretty fast, and they have some live top decks. Our opponent is saying that was unfortunate. Huh? We don't want to draw this, so. Ugh. I think here we just put them on a 1-turn clock. And we just got to fade 1 draw step. Yeah, see, like this is what crop rotation enables. Like sudden, well, I compare it to a green dark ritual, but it's more like a carpet of flowers because you get it every turn, right? All right, so I think we want the hate pieces. The fourth crop rotation here is for flexibility. I don't think we really want any of the other cards. There's an argument to be made for Rex Sage. Um, is this game one or two? I can never tell from the UI. Good question. This is game two now. So we won game one. I'll be glad to hear your experiences later on, Decent. But yeah, I really dislike Nettle. I was telling chat earlier. There's an argument for passive flames. They usually don't go for that line. Well, I guess this version we just saw it, but the version that I have been running into a lot was Tony Scapone's version, and I don't think they have passive flames. But I do think, given that we did see the passive flames here, we can bring it in. And then you just board out. At least me personally, I board out the grind engine. Like this matchup is about in combo mirrors. You care about speed, and I don't think you want just like slower cards like Wirewood and Visionary. Me personally, I think there's an argument to be made for Rex Sage, but I don't. Yeah, like I think this card is straight up broken. Like I mentioned it in my Discord channel. I think whether you want to play Reclaimer or not. What's up, Levi? This Levi is was streaming earlier today. For those of you who don't know, he's one of the best young players that I know. But I think regardless if you want to play Reclaimer or not, and I know that's a very controversial statement for a lot of elf players, but even if you don't want to play Reclaimer, I think you need to be playing 3 to 4 crop rotation. I think the card is straight up broken, and I said this in my Discord channel a little bit earlier this week, but I actually think Legacy Elves was misbuilt the entire Deathrite era now, based on my testing with crop rotation. Like we should have been playing that card, and probably Jitaxian Probe as well. Nice, 3-1 is still good, Levi. I think I'm gonna keep because of Thoughtseize. But yeah, that's probably a hot take for a lot of people, but I think straight up Elves was misbuilt now during the whole Deathrite era, and we should have been playing crop rotation the entire time. Jeez, the turn one. We are likely just dead here, but we'll see. Maybe they'll fizzle like they did last time. Yeah. Ooh. So there is a chance. 2 mana Morphos, if they hit mana, I think we got this. I mean, they have unlimited mana now. Ooh, that's kind of scary. That's a redraw, essentially. Ooh, that's actually... we dodged the bullet there, chat. So they're playing just so it's in their yard, which is smart. Like, they have a lot of mana, but then they just fizzled there. Our game plan now is try to end the game within the next, like, 3 turns. So we do have... Let's see... I think we take the Cradle because now we have a turn 2 Archon. Yeah, LFG. All right, I think we're very much in this game. We just need to dodge 1 draw step now. All right, that's good. So we're just gonna name sorcery, and I don't think they can beat us. I'm going through it kind of quickly here. I apologize, but a lot of this should be like muscle memory for any elf player. Oh, wrong one. Sorcery. There we go. That should be game, but we'll see. The fact that they're not conceding is interesting to me. I'm trying to think what outs they could have in red. Maybe two bolts or something like that. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think the Magic Gods forgave us for that turn one. Not turn one. Game one, match one punt. Against the Lands deck. So they gifted us one back here. I typically don't like this matchup against Ruby Storm. I have a saying that like the higher a deck is on the Belcher scale, the harder the matchup for elves. Oh yeah, yeah. I think we should have probably won on round one. I played the wrong land on turn one. It was supposed to be a basic forest instead of a fetch, and got heavily punished because we didn't see Stifle. And we got stifled, and they got turned three Jace or something like that. I don't remember, but I think things play out very differently if I play my basic forest as normal and then save the fetch for an arbor. The last turn we were both at one. So I take it, decent David, you're on the fast build based on the fact that you said Nettle Sentinel. I personally think if you want to play a combo version and not play Reclaimer, um, that you just take my build and cut the Reclaimers for Heritage Druid, so you have max speed. And I think the thing is, crop rotation does what Nettle Sentinel does, but with fewer steps. And then as long as you have the Horizon Canopy, you can always cycle that if you need a creature. Sorry, if you need a draw off Glimpse, and then if you need a creature, that's pretty straightforward. You can just crop for an Arbor. It was more traditional. Yeah, that's fair. I do think the traditional build compared to this build, I'm not sure if it has any advantages anymore with the inclusion of crop now. The previous advantage it has was it was a little bit faster, but crop rotation is just straight up busted. Like, and I wish I had started testing that a lot earlier instead of just these past 2 months. Like, it gives elves the burst mana or this version, the burst mana that it never essentially had. All right, we're playing against Kellen Pastor. Keep. I don't know what they've been playing. The last time I played them, they were on like the Titan Stompy deck, but that was a long time ago. Okay, so Roland, when I played this list before, ever since Reclaimer came out, traditionally what's been in the crop rotation slot was Heritage Druid. Um, so Lawrence Harmon actually pushed me to never be complacent, and actually went on a 42-8 run with Heritage Druid in the crop rotation slot. But he said when you get up to a build you like, you just experiment with the slots, and maybe every once in a while you come up with something you like. Yeah, 42 and 8, and that was actually going only 2-3 in the last league too. So I was doing better even before that. But I know Jax. For those of you who know Jax, he's a dedicated turn one player, and he said, "Why aren't we playing crop rotation with Allosaurus Shepherd?" And I said, "We probably should be, but we haven't. It took us a while." So Jax and I collaborated on this, on how to get the two in the same deck, and it finally came to me that, and this is something I wanted to test for a while, which is cut the Heritage Druids because they were by far the worst card in the deck, and for the crop rotations, and I had not looked back. Like the mana you get from crop rotation is insane because it's a mana boost, whereas Heritage Druid you're breaking even without Nettle Sentinel. Um, so this does what Nettle Sentinel plus Heritage does, but it's rolled into one card. Also, like you have these nice silver bullets that just read win target game. We don't know what our opponent is on. It's interesting that they just conceded. Yeah, I think Doomsday is the only one. I'm almost tempted to just run it back, maybe with Thought Seizes. Actually, the only well, let me see. Maybe the best thing is, and I don't want to, I don't know what Kellen's on, but maybe the best thing is just to run back the same 60, given that we don't know. Yeah, I think let's just do that. It can only be so bad. The only, like, I almost want to hedge against DNT because that's the only deck that would just concede to me turn zero. Um, but I don't know if actually, and Kellen has played DNT I think in the past, but even as is, I think our deck is like decent against DNT. Uh, sure. More to five. Yeah, it feels like DNT to me. Like aggressive mulligan, concede turn zero. Perhaps we should have boarded in the decays, but I think as a heuristic, if you don't know what your opponent is on, I tend to like to board in Thoughtseize if they show like an island, but they didn't show us anything. And I know, even though Kellen and I don't talk much, I know he knows I'm on elves, so that would be a reason to concede turn zero. Ghost Quarter. Interesting. Actually, I'm gonna lead with the Shepherd because if they're gonna Revoker me, I'd rather them Revoker the Shepherd than the Ranger. Like it feels very D and T-ish to me. I'm gonna attack first just to see if I can. Actually, that's bad because there's a potential Containment Priest coming. All right, so they're not on D and T because we see a fetch now. I think they're on Green White Reclaimer actually. On basic lands, sure. It was unfortunate that we drew the Arbor there, but I think that's fine. They made Ghost Quarter our Guy's Cradle, and we're gonna crop in response, and then hopefully get the win off Natural Order. It's awkward here because like, jeez, sure. This is one of the downsides of opponent knowing where we're on. So it's a little awkward here because if we once upon a time we can't crop, I think we just do it here. And hope they don't Ghost Quarter us. Archon and Instant is pretty good here. It's no Progenitus though. Sure. Sure. Maybe this gets there, maybe it doesn't. Like, if I really wanted a hedge, I would have hedged DNT, like I said, and bring in the Decays and the Progenitus. But Archon's not bad. Don't think we care about the Plague Engineer anymore. Now we instant trade if they're gonna hit the Reclaimer. Yeah, I was gonna say we instant trade if they attack with the Engineer there, and I think they're gonna try to race, and I like our prospects if that's the case. We snap trade here. They attack like 2 for 1. Interesting. So now we're getting a little bit punished for not having the Progenitus. Like, we still have outs. Natural order being the biggest one, and I don't think they can really. Well, wow. Okay, they're gonna choose the attack. So this drops us to 6. I think we trade with the Thalia here. Or we chump because we want to race. We lose to a Skyclave Aberration, though. I was well, it would have been good heuristic here if we had the Decay to draw into. Yeah. Not bad, like, considering how this game played out. Yeah, we rebounded nicely here. I'm gonna go and take a quick restroom break again. I'll be back in 30 seconds, or maybe a minute. Thanks, Roland. Appreciate it. So, for those of you who missed it, um, one of the nice things is if you played elves long enough, there's certain things that how people mulligan will reveal about their decks. So, for instance, if they don't know what I'm on and they're on the play and they mulligan to 4 and then concede, they're likely on a combo deck, something like Oops. Also, if they do know what I'm on and mulligan to 4, that typically means they're on something like DNT that has a horrendous L's matchup. If there's any questions you guys may have about the list, feel free to just ask at any time too. I'm pretty good about responding. Let me bring it up for a second. Everything's pretty stock here. I'm trying the Rivulet and the Rex Sage in the sideboard just because there's a lot of Moon Stompy and Doomsday that lately. So we're playing against Matthew Vook, which is a good friend of mine that who I've collaborated a lot with. I think this is almost like a Motive 5 already, so I'm gonna ship it back. Man, not a good. Ugh. Sure. I don't want to go to 5. He or our opponent, if I don't do anything and they know I'm traditionally on elves, might be confused why I did pass go there. Now I kind of wish I kept my first hand. This is like pretty awkward. I can't fetch Arbor here because you just get set too far back. They may put me off elves here based on the fact I didn't do anything, which is kind of funny. But not really the hand I wanted. We're gonna fetch basics here. If they had Stifle, they would have used it already. Oh. That is some good draws here. Because we're gonna lead with a glimpse into Shepherd and then hope they counter the glimpse. To be honest, they can bolt the Shepherd, which is fine. I don't think we care. Like this is just a big removal magnet. Like the way this deck is built. Like I know the deck is called Reclaimer Elves, and it's no secret that Reclaimer is the strongest card in the deck. So we're gonna lead with this and see what happens. Sure. I think here we're gonna lead with the symbiote. If they want to kill our shepherd and daze in response, that's fine. Alright. That means they don't have days. I mean, I say the deck is. I joke the deck is now Oops All Kratos, courtesy Jax. But for all the viewers who are not as familiar with the alternate name, they may know this deck as Reclaimer Elves. So that's why I use both. Uh, I think there's a chance they have Force in their hand, but I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, we don't have a choice next turn. Ooh. Okay. Hello. We like stole this game, to be fair. Like our opening seven was horrendous, but we drew really well, which the deck does admittedly do. All right, it's time to go down on the natural order plan. I think we just want to keep up. Actually, we saw Hex Drinker, so they're not. I know Matthew was playing the blue red, splashing green version for a little bit with Swiftspear. I think Hex Drinker tells me that they're not on that version. So I'm gonna board as if they're on normal Rogue Delver. I like Bog here because there's a chance they have Earl. Cabal Pit's always good. And I think that's like we don't really want the fourth rotation. It's like really awkward to draw. But yeah, I think the comparison I always make is Reclaimer is closer to Brainstorm, which is the best creature in the deck, and Shepherd is more like Git Pro, where it's just very good, but then more so obnoxious to play against. Here, I'm gonna actually lead with the Shepherd. The reason why is I want the Reclaimer to live. Like I'm gonna board bait out the removal spell. It also means that their daze is dead on turn one, which if they kept a 1-line hand, might be relevant. Sure. So we're gonna play around the days there. Rough tumble here would be very annoying. The reason why I don't offer the trade is because I rather them have two Delvers than just one threat and permission. Like we essentially turned this into a removal spell, and not to mention like our glimpse is live. So what did they reveal? Oh, they didn't reveal anything. If they have rough, they probably would play here. Yeah. Like they cannot allow a reclaimer to untap. It's not the end of the world. Still, a 3 for 2. I think if we untap it, we probably win. Sure. And the reason why we can't hold back the reclaimer there is because sometimes the sweeper is blazing volley, so it's immune to that. And the second reason is because they have double delver on board, so we can't afford to be patient. So here we have one turn essentially. So I'm gonna fetch on their end step and then hope Glimpse gets us there. We're probably losing this game because of the rough tumble, but I don't think there's anything we could have done about that because they were on the play at double delver start. So um, it's kind of one of those things where like a sweeper out of an aggro deck is much more devastating than a sweeper out of a control deck. And we can't expose it to Wasteland here. Like, yeah, we're just dead. I think we're on the play, so it should be much better here. Yeah, it is a little bit better if Glimpse resolves. The issue there though is I want to be at least keep board parity, like in case we get into a racing situation, decent. Like like we essentially cannot fully rely on Glimpse to resolve there. It was a little bit of a hedge, I guess is the short answer. And they had like three cards I think in hand, so it's safe to say one of them might have been Force. The play here is Visionary turn 2, and then set up for a turn 3 Glimpse, keeping fetch up, and then you're looking for the crop rotation blowout on Arbor. That's a very good draw. Sure. So if Matt goes for the bolt on Arbor here, we have the counterplay of crop. Yep. I think we want the Cradle. So that essentially was a 1-for-1, not bad. I think here it's awkward because we want to do the ooze, but then that leaves it exposed to the. Otherwise, our glimpse is dead. I think ooze is game winning enough where we just go for it. Like it's a big boy now, and you don't want to leave the ooze exposed to a lane bolt. Actually, we're gonna leave blue mana up for the bluff. And we're gonna play around Submerge here. we want the Reclaimer on the board right now. So that's why I'm gonna go with Glimpse, even though it's only one card. That might be bad because we're not playing around the Submerge. But I don't think we can... that's pretty good. Sure. It's still quite a while before they can get to the ultimate. Oh, thanks for the raid. Uh, so DG, I don't know how to pronounce it. GGANEV was our first round opponent. Hmm. I think here there's a couple of things we can do. Oh, that was a mistake by me. I was supposed to drain their yard first before passing priority. With the floated mana. Oh my goodness. If they have a rough tumble here. Yeah, so now we potentially get a little bit punished because the Goyf is potentially... Oh, well. Better lucky than good. So a couple of things there. Like I played a little bit fast and loose. Um, I think Chad can probably figure out like the few optimizations I could have made was eating their graveyard with the scavenging ooze. Um, I think what I also do there is I potentially what I do is I leave the Birch Lore in hand. The reason being is because that might be they might think the crop rotation is the bait for to protect my natural order on the to follow up to bait to protect a natural order. If that makes sense. So I should have held the Birch Lore Ranger in hand, crop rotate first, have the black mana, and then I can attack freely with both Reclaimer and the Ooze. But I know I went through that a little quickly, but I think that probably makes sense to chat, right? But yeah, shout out to DJNE for beating me earlier. I mentioned this, but I probably punted that game 3 when I led with the wrong. I misclicked if you're listening. But I appreciate the raid though. And then, do you post your videos anywhere? Yes, I do. I can post it in chat right now. 1 second. Thanks for the follow, Matt. So here's my YouTube page for those who are curious. I usually post my videos afterwards on my YouTube page. You can also check it out on stream. I know I luck stacked there, Matt. Yeah, so Matt, you're obviously listening and tuned in right now. It was super close for sure. Game 1, I thought I was gonna lose because I mulled a 7 and it wasn't great. And then I kept a 6 that was not good, but I can't go to 5. And game 3, I definitely played a little fast there. I should have floated when I had the floated mana. I should have ate your graveyard more. I don't know if it would have mattered for the Goyf sides, but just good heuristics. And then the top deck bolt was the top deck decay was really good. And then I should have led with a crop earlier with a burst lore in hand in case you thought I might be leading with a crop for bait and the other card, the last card would be natural order, obviously. But good games. I mentioned earlier that you and I have collaborated a lot in the past, especially when. So for those who are unaware, Matt qualified for the 2019 Mox event with 24 players, and he and I were both discussing with each other what deck to play for Modern because I had qualified for the 2020 Season 1 Mox, and he helped me out a lot in terms of giving the testing that I needed because in Modern I played Green White Reclaimer and he played Europile, and Europile was well represented during the actual event. So yeah, so the thing is, I actually assumed that you. I'm trying to think. I think you would have forced the Wirewood if you had it, but because you didn't, I actually assumed that you didn't have the force. But I drew the Shepherd anyways, which is better lucky than good, if anything. So Galatrix is actually usually on depths. We'll see if they're on that today. Um, so yeah, MTG Goldfish here lists depths as their last played event. Yeah, Matt is a very good guy. I have nothing but good things to say about Matt. He's probably one of the best players I know. Hey Eli, how's it going? We have Tribal in the house here. Thanks for the follow, DG. You also know yourself. Okay, so what do you mean by that, Matt? Yeah, that was a great match with Matt. I think I could have played a little bit better that game 3, but I didn't really get punished. And the me rushing through things a little bit, it was nothing major that no major mistake. The mistake I made in my round 1 match too was also minor, but I got severely punished. But that's what happens. Like you don't if you don't make mistakes and get punished by actually the important part is you'll make mistakes, but if you don't get punished by them, you may make them again. The best way to not so here we're gonna save this for the Arbor and do it correctly this time. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Here, there's a couple of lines for turn 2. That is not one of them. I think, given that we can't kill with any scenario next turn, we just lead with the Visionary here. Save the fetch for the Arbor. Yeah, Matt is very good player, and with a lot of range too. I know Matt has played. It's probably most known for Forest Lone, but has won a challenge with Grixis mid range before. Back when Lurrus was legal. I don't like you can play Delver. Like the range is pretty wide for Matt. I play other decks too, but typically not online. More so in paper. But I know typically most people associate me with elves and maybe just green decks in general. All right, so I think that smells like a end step prop rotation for Hex Mage. I mean, sorry for Dark Depths, but there's not really anything we could do here about that. Oof, that's not a good draw. I think we don't have time and have to A, hope that they don't have it, and B, like develop our board with a glimpse here. They probably have it though. I know that it. I know that Tom Hep has popularized the turbo version with Bug and Rainbow Mana base, but I know it seems like Galactus is still on the old school list. We just need mana because we're assuming we're not dead. We probably are, but in case we're not dead, we have to kill next turn. But like I said, we're probably dead. I'd be surprised if we're not. Okay, so hey, how's it going, YB Stone? So yeah, the important thing here is like we glimpse because we want to just fill out the board. And on the off chance that we live like we did there, now we have a kill the following turn. They must have just drawn that. Or sorry, they probably had it in hand and they couldn't cast it because they needed the black mana for Hex Mage. All right, we have exactly 8 mana too, which is nice. So let's see. If we play the Visionary here, well, we're gonna fetch first, so we don't draw the Arbor. If we play the Visionary here, let's see, does that mess up our number of attackers? That puts us to 6, 7, yeah. So we lose an attacker here if we do that. I don't think that's what we want. The bad move there is play Visionary, you lose an attacker now, which is 7 extra damage. But we essentially play to our outs and just assumed that we would get another turn, and we got rewarded for that, like big time, essentially. So this is actually, I'm glad this matchup is coming up because I think running 4 crop rotation means that you just have 4 random hate pieces that are also combo pieces. And like it's relevant against the graveyard decks and it's relevant against Merit Lage decks. I think we still want the Thoughtseizes for interaction. Okay, I've cut too many cards now. They could have Plague Engineer, but I'm not gonna preemptively board in the Cabal Pit until they show me it. They're also on mid-range devs, right? Yeah, it's definitely easier this version to play against than the turbo version because Reclaimer's real live in this matchup. I don't think we want anything else. Like we don't. If we see Plague Engineer, we'll board in the pit game 3. Alright, this is a really good hand. Yeah, that's fair. They probably do have Plague Engineer, but we'll just make them prove it first before we board in the Cabal Pit. We have essentially Batman and Superman here. Superman's pretty bad in this matchup, though. For those who are joining through the raid, and again, I appreciate the 2 raids I got earlier today. Um, I like to say that there's a good argument to be made. The 3 best green drops in the best 3 green 1 drops in Legacy are arguably all in the same deck in Elves. In that Elvish Reclaimer, Allosaurus Shepherd, and there's an argument to be made, but this is more of a stretch. Wirewood Symbiote. Thanks for the follow, Jenner info. Alright, so they took the crop, which is fine. Like, we still have crop on the stick here. Yeah, Superman has a pet dino, apparently. I think here... That was a mistake by me, actually. I probably should have fetched first, but not a big deal. They do have Wasteland. I think for diversity reasons... Actually, no. I think I just want the Reclaimer. Like, the Wirewood protects the Reclaimer. The problem is, if they decay, it just feels really bad to have a Wirewood now. I think I'd just rather have 2 Reclaimers. It's also better with Allosaurus Shepherd. Yeah, there's a lot of people have been posting about that, YB Stone. Yeah, this version is, I'm obviously biased. Daylight savings. No, I heard it has to do with the way they export their list now. I mean, I don't know the details, but my good friend Max Gilmore can probably do a good lecture on that. I think he knows more about it than I do. So we're gonna end step. The nice thing about Cradle is it plays real well with Reclaimer turn 2. Like, you can turn 2 Reclaimer for Caracas. Took me several days to play through. I want to say I played against... Wow. Yeah, Death Shadow is one of the harder Delver decks, I think, for Elves to beat. Only because they have, like, Disruption plus Plague Engineer. And a decently fast clock. They don't have Lightning Bolt, though, which is nice. This may be a Thoughtseize here. Yep. So we can't Dino overrun them, which is fine. This is a situation that comes up every once in a while, where you have a Wasteland staring down a Reclaimer. What's it called? The initial gut feeling is to not do anything. The problem is then you don't develop your board. You essentially have to force them to use it. And the way you do that here is you just get like an Arbor or what is it called? Horizon Canopy, so that it at least puts some pressure on them. If they want to waste the Cradle, that's fine. I think here we want the Horizon, the Nurturing Peatland, like for gas. They may waste on upkeep now. I think we want to keep the Cradle up, the Cradle mana up, because what is it called? Because of the we want to end step Caracas if need be. Actually, it's not gonna matter because they have the wasteland up here. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and play that and then draw. Oops. Like if they want to, waste us, they can. Like we're gonna start bashing. It's still, well, they have a Merit Lage here, um, but there's really nothing. We can't really play around this wasteland here. All right, we need to get a little lucky here. We have outs. Green Sun, Natural Order, Crop Rotation are all outs here. Better lucky than good. What they should have done was waste us because they still had the mana to yeah, they should have wasted us because they still had the mana for Merit Lage. Like 2 mana for the Reclaimer, and then they can still make a hex Merit Lage there. Like there's no drawback of using the Wasteland there. And then so it would have shut off Green Sun as an out. So we would have been forced to Natural Order there instead. Not bad. Like we recovered after losing the first match to DG there. And what if you can spell out how to pronounce your username? I'll probably use that in the future. But right now it looks like DGAN Nev. So we went 4-1. Our only loss, Diego Ganev. So nice shout out to Diego for the so let me see. So D Ganev. Sure, there you go. Apologize for butchering your name. But we went a nice clean 4-1 here with the only loss to Diego. And I think we should run it back. Like, the list feels pretty good, honestly. Yeah, I think it turned out pretty well right now, the league. We can just run back a second league. I hate drawing this tropical island, but every once in a while you can bluff something. I don't know if anybody believes I actually have Flusterstorm, but they have to at least think twice. Yeah, Reclaimer. I know not a lot of people like playing. I'm typically one of the few pilots on it. I just think there's too much text. Yeah, I like this is strictly for Doomsday, and uh, I had a lot of elf feedback from other pilots recently in the big events, and it was a bloodbath. Like we lost to Doomsday multiple times, so I think it's probably worth it. I'm also just gonna lead with it here, just to threaten some kind of daze or whatever. I don't think anybody would believe me that I have it, but Different story. Suboptimal win condition. I mean, we just hardcasted. I mean, Green Sun for Hoof there. YB Stone. Plateau. Yeah, I mean, Ollie plays all kinds of crazy stuff. So like, I'm not surprised he's on Ipnu. I've talked to him a few times. Like, I'm actually afraid to play Ollie in general. What in the world is going on? I'm afraid to play Ollie in general because he likes destroying lands, and apparently this person does too. Against Miracles, I think it's okay. I actually think what might be optimal against Miracles is boarding out one natural order. I know that's blasphemous to say, but boarding out one natural order, and so I think I'm just gonna play the. I gotta be safe here and play basics now. Okay, so yeah, boarding out one natural order and boarding out the Archon. We definitely still want the hoof to 2 or 4, but I think what might be optimal against Miracles is just go down to 2 natural order and 1 hoof. Uh, because you keep a higher threat density and you can keep in cards like Ooze and well, there's the land destruction. This is kind of obnoxious against us. Yeah, one of each. It's kind of like Batterskull and GTA for Stoneforge fans. Alright, so we gotta protect our mana base here. What is going on? Cancel. No, 2 no with 2. No. So 2 NO with 1 payoff, Levi. So just the 2 NO and hoof and board out the Archon. Sure. It's a 1-for-1 still, I guess. This feels kind of trolly, but it's. I mean, it is what it is. The reason being is, unlike against the black base control decks, Progenitus is not as good against Miracles. So Levi has the logic there. That's exactly why. Like, it's not great. I mean, sorry, it's not horrendous, but I'd rather not draw, because you know, anybody who's ever played Elves before will draw Progenitus. Like, there's arguments both ways. I think like Progenitus is a clock with limited resources. The problem is there's so many outs to it, and they even play Council's Judgment again because of True Name Nemesis. What is going on here? Our opponent might have just given us a window because suddenly. Well, actually. They usually have at least one CJ because the True Name Nemesis is back. Yeah, Sanctuary for Terminus is the reason why I don't really like Progenitus in the matchup. I didn't bring back my Visionary there because I just think we need the mana. I mean, sure. That's something, I guess. We need to draw our Cradle here. So in four Thoughtseize, Cabal Pit, and Bog, and out three Crop, Birchlord, Eno, and keep all four Cradle. I think three Cradles is probably enough, Levi. I'd probably keep in the. I like the Birchlord actually, because you can end your glimpse with Thoughtseize or like lead with do like kind of different things with the Birchlord Rangers. I don't think you need all four Cradle. Again, here, I don't think we actually bounce the Visionary because we have another one in hand. If they want to Porous, they can. If there's heads up play, there would be. Actually, let me think. Ooh, that is a good draw. So now we have all the tools we need to punch through here. I think we bounce because we need the mana. Like, if they want to like destroy this next turn, they can. But I think we want to just flood the board. Like, we're getting close to a hard cast hoof here. Yeah, Kratos is really good, Diego. I think it's probably the most broken card in Legacy. Like, of course, there's some building constraints, but not much when you're elves. Oh my god, what is going on? Yeah, I think against something like Cloud Post too, where they don't have Wasteland to back up Tabernacle, Kratos so good. Um, it's actually the reason part. Well, it's part of the reason why I like the crop rotation package now, because um, one of the weaknesses of this build before with Reclaimer was it lost a little bit of speed compared to its Netto counterpart. I think with the addition of crop rotation, I like to think this version is almost strictly better than the popular version going around now because you have the resiliency of Reclaimer and then the explosiveness of crop rotation now. Yeah, I'll show it in a bit after this match. Well, actually, you'll see during sideboarding actually, Diego. So we have a kill here. No problem, Diego. Anytime, man. It's the least I can do for the. Okay, just that's just now an embarrassment of riches. All right, so per Diego's request, here's the deck. Um, Anybody who's followed me for a long time will know that there's been major changes to the deck within, I would say, the last 3 months. At the very end of December into early January, I finally bit the bullet and went up from one Shepherd to three. And at the time, these crop rotations were still the Heritage Druids, and there was no Ooze, and the Bog was still in the main deck. Um, So I actually went on a run where I went 42-8, and that's actually doing poorly in the last league too. So through 10 leagues, and I got advice. I know I mentioned this earlier to anybody who was on, but I got advice from Lawrence Harmon, who wanted me to push the deck further despite doing well with the deck. And I know, turn one specialist Jax, and I talk a lot, and he was the one that said, "Is there any way to put crop rotation in the list?" Because he said green has some of the most broken spells ever, and it's cradle, it's crop rotation, it's natural order, it's once upon a time, it's what's it call it? It's Green Sun Zenith and it's Glimpse of Nature, which none of them really are elf specific. They just happen to be good in elf's shell. He said there's got to be a better shell than Kobold's, and I said okay. What I'm gonna try to do is cut the Heritage Druids because that's the natural fit for crop rotation, and it's an idea I had for a long time already, even dating back to Deathrite era. At the time, I was more inexperienced, so I didn't try it because I didn't know how to build the deck correctly. I posted on Twitter how I would build it these days, and it would play 4 Git Probe and 3 to 4 crop rotations in the 75, 3 and then 1. Long story short, this card is Nettle Sentinel plus Heritage Druid wrapped up into one because it gives you burst acceleration that the other two need together to do. The other thing it does is your graveyard and Karakas matchups get a lot better. Um, so it was a logical add, and the first thing, like I said, was okay. So I don't even know how to board against them. Probably one for Genesis. Uh, Ooze seems like it could be good because they might have a sweeper. I'm gonna go ahead and board Decaying Fears with some strange hate pieces, and I don't. I think actually I want the crop rotations. I think Shepherd is actually not good in this matchup. I think we want 1 to 2 to 4. There we go. Actually, I should have boarded in the Cabal Pit too, but it's too late for that. The slimming of creature count is one of the big backlashes from the more traditional. Yeah, but I think it's also overstated because as long as you have the one, this is dangerous, but we're gonna keep. I think as long as you have the one, what is it called? The one canopy land, nurturing peatland or horizon, it's fine. Yes, so that's a good question. It's actually what I had in not too long ago, Top Deck Hero. I had the Horizon. The problem is Horizon is always worse, except for the time you're casting Archon. So I finally cut it, and I'm just solely relying on one Birchlore. The reason why Birchlore is still necessary, and this is not a great hand now, but the reason why Birchlore is necessary is because against these Blood Moon decks, you need a way to produce green and black specifically for Abrupt Decay on like Ensnaring Bridge or whatnot. Yeah, so everything in the sideboard is black. So that's why I'm playing the so we gotta get a basic here. And the reason why I'm not getting a fetch is because I want to draw lands in this case. Oh, not good. Yeah, so the white actually rarely comes up with respect to Horizon Canopy, which is why I switched back to Peatland. I think it's just more relevant most of the time. What in the world is going on? So my only experience with this is playing this in Kaldheim draft. Yeah. So I'm gonna get. It's almost likely my land gets blown up here by the Dwarven Miner. Actually, no, that costs mana to activate. What is going on? Sure. Yeah, this is. I mean, win or lose, I don't think we get really anything out of this matchup. Like, I don't want to be too critical, but that's the reality. So I don't think we care about their treasure tokens. Like, we want the mana. Like, we really need to hit a land here. Sure. Ask and you shall receive. We're gonna use up one of our glimpses. I just want to cycle through. Did they? I didn't check the score earlier. Maybe they did. I don't know. But we have a kill next turn if they just continue to yeah. Okay, so I guess they were 1-1 maybe. Like Levi said. My guess is they probably LD somebody out of the game. And that's how you can cheese wins. But like this is not a functional deck in my opinion. Yeah, like the only way each creature without flying. Okay, so they're gonna sweep our board here. Sure. we'll see, right? Like they're gonna blow up our what is it called? Uh, hmm. I think we forced them to block here. I mean, they have to sacrifice now, right? And then we save a point of damage. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Ooh, okay. That's pretty good. We may actually lose here. Trample Infect. So we have to block the we have to block the Blightsteel now, but I think I'm gonna set up for a next turn win. So we have to chump the Blightsteel, which is fine. But we might be able to steal the game on the crackback. Agreed, yeah. Reclaimer coming in handy here. Like, we need to draw a 1-drop. Okay, sure. This is the bad recruiter, guys. Goblin Recruiter is the real recruiter. If Eli is still on. That's a card I wish would be Legacy playable. The problem is it might slow down a lot of games. Although there should be a relatively quick pile for them to win with these days. A 1-drop wins the game here. Actually, we have the 1-drop in hand. What am I saying? Okay, we have even better than that. Let's just make sure this is correct. 524 damage. Yeah, it's Xaxes. For those of you who are curious how I did the math so quickly, it's because this is a very common board for elves. The four attacker it's 16 to 24 usually, if they're all 1/1s. Yeah, GG. Yeah, exactly. So Diego has it right. It's also very common. Like 3 creatures is usually 16, 4 is usually 24. Anything beyond that is like overkill usually. 19 is another common number if one of them can't attack. All right, so I apologize, chat. I know like I use the restroom a lot, but usually after every 2 matches or so, I gotta use it. I gotta stay hydrated too because I wasn't feeling well earlier today. What had like flu-like symptoms, but not quite the flu, I think. But we'll be right back. All right, I am back. So we are now, on a little mini streak. We won our last 5, 4 from the previous league and 1-0 in this league. So feeling pretty good right now. I'll bring up the sideboard, not the sideboard, the deck list again for those who are curious. This is like very experimental. Like I have not liked this card in a long time. I 5-0'd kind of recently with a Mass Vandal build. I never drew it though, so it's hard to say if that's better or Rex Sage is better. My heart wants me to believe Mass Vandal is better, but my brain tells me the consistency of Rex Sage is probably the right play. Also, like randomly good against show and tell decks. The rest is like pretty obvious. Like once you have all these tutors, the deck kind of builds itself, right? Like the 4 crop rotations, you gotta have at least minimum the Bojuka Bog and the Karakas. Cabal Pit is almost like a prerequisite too because of Plague Engineer. This is like a card I wish I didn't have to play, but Doomsday is very good. And I think you still want 3 decays for a reasonable chance to draw it against any tempo deck. Collector Oof for the artifact based decks, and then Progenitus as another way to beat Plague Engineer. Not to mention it's an upgrade over Archon in a lot of matchups. So we're playing against Meowface. I don't know what they're on. This hand is pretty good though. I think what would make this hand a lot better is if I Quirion Ranger, because then you can like untap the Arbor and still have 3 mana turn 2. But it's not bad. I think the last thing we want to see here is like Lightning Bolt or Swords on our Arbor. Yeah, the Reclaimer as Diego mentioned earlier, being a 3/4 was like super relevant against that Blightsteel. looks like it could be Depths. Or the Mirror. Nope. Maybe Bug Delver. But actually, they wouldn't fetch Bayou, which is interesting. We're not going to play around Wasteland here. Like, I don't like setting myself back on tempo for speculative play. Like, we're not trying to cheese wins here. If they Wasteland, they Wasteland. The card rotation is just, it's in the deck because it's just randomly a blowout. Sure. I think here we want a fetch or a visionary. That's okay, I guess. We need mana, so. Now it's kind of the nice part, right? Like, we have the crop rotation up as the blowout now. If they try to, like, fatal push our Arbor or whatnot. Or the Wasteland here is nice, too. They may hit the Reclaimer, though. Like, it's the most dangerous card in the deck. That's a creature. I think the Delver matchup now, without Arcanus or legal, heavily favors us. Because, here we go, as expected. Heavily favors us because we have 4 Elvish Reclaimer, 4 Shepherd that are 8 must kills, and then 4 Wirewood Symbiote to protect them. So essentially, 12 must kill threats, and 16 if you include Green Sun. So here, I think we're gonna go ahead and. It's interesting that they have Wasteland and Veteran Explorer in the same deck. Huh. Yeah, that card rotation was pretty hot. Alright, we can't attack here. We're just setting up for a kill next turn. While protecting our Gaea's Cradle from another Wasteland. Yeah, Heritage Druid, which was this previous slot for Krog, cannot do things like that. And you're tutoring up the most broken card in Legacy, in my opinion. In Gaea's Cradle. Like, the blowout that was there was just insane. Divine Intervention. I don't even know what that does, Levi. If you say it was good, I'll believe you. If you say it wasn't good, I also believe you. The fact that I don't know what Divine Intervention does, though, kind of worries me. Target player sacrifices. Just great. Oh, this is quite annoying. I am debating what I want to sacrifice here. So we have 2, 3, 4 mana. I think we can probably pitch the Ranger because if we draw a 1-drop, it's still lethal because of the Gaea's Cradle. I don't want to pitch the Reclaimer, and I don't want to pitch the Ooze here. Like, they both enable, although we get punished if we draw a Visionary. Ugh. Oh, that's the Visionary, but that's fine. Yeah, I think pitching Ranger, even though it's tough, is correct. And I think we just want to set up for lethal. Like, Archon, I don't want to like really lose like either of these creatures, to be honest. We get exactly punished if we draw a Visionary or a Green Sun, but I think we live with that. I definitely want the ooze in case they have some Rector shenanigans going on. Yeah, the reason why I didn't natural order there is because if they draw a Thoughtseize, then it's just real bad. So Jacob Corey, who's you know old school player, yeah, I didn't think it was worth it to fetch here just in case. That's another reason why to keep the natural order in hand. The correct play there is probably fetch to eat something, but I don't think it's a big deal. And we're gonna fetch Bayou here. Yeah, so Jacob Corey is an old school legacy player, and he's been around the block to play Nitfit a few times, but I doubt any Jacob's Nitfit decks had Wasteland in them as well. I remember at LGS when I first started playing, Jacob would play what is it called? Siege Rhino in his Nitfit deck, which is pretty hot. Okay, I don't think we really realistically can attack, unfortunately. And they probably plus again. We probably pitch the. Okay, I'm okay with that. Oh my god. GSZ is a hell of a drug. I agree. We are getting Liliana out of the game right here. It's the glue that actually makes elves. It's the glue that holds elves together. Ugh. Now, of course, right on cue when I say heritage isn't good, I draw the one time I would want it. Okay. Like we had a lot of live draws for a while to win this game, and we just drew kind of poorly here. Like any creature. Sure. The old veteran explorer Tormagorth deck. So Wizard of the Course. How about Heritage with Krara as the adventure? Yeah, Visionary. Actually, Visionary wouldn't even help us here because we can't cast it off the Glimpse, right? Although we can just pitch the card we draw, I guess, off Visionary. All right, that's a creature. We gotta go because this Liliana ticking up is not good for us. Oh my goodness. Rockfit Poggers. This is the mono natural order. These are the type of games that I think about every time I want to play the four of natural. Like this is what scares me. Hey Romero, how's it going, man? So we're 5-1 so far today, but and this is game one of game number 7. Looks like we're gonna be down a game. Ugh. Sure. I've never looked back. Yeah, same. It's a card. The minute you draw multiple natural orders, you just remind yourself every time like why you hate having the fourth one. It's the absolute worst. Like you just want three because ideally you draw one during the game, and two is like backbreaking to draw. Oh, actually, not back, but three definitely is. Yeah, Liliana in this economy, it's pretty crazy, right? I think we're dead, right? Because they can just let's just see if they know. Well, oops. If they see the line to at least Liliana minus and then swing out. Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. Jacob. Yeah, so they see the line. The heuristic I go by is like if I always want to see it regardless, something like Gaia's Cradle and can afford drawing like two or three, then I play four. If I want to draw exactly one copy, I play three, which is like I'll go to the list. So here's the threes in the list. Once Upon a Time, that's a card I want exactly one of in the opening hand. Corrupt Rotation, that's a card I want exactly one of. And the fourth one is really in the sideboard for like additional flex or flexibility, I should say. It's kind of like an Enlightened Tutor, but better because it's tutor into play instead of on top of the library, which is a huge difference. It doesn't actually put you down a card. It's like semi. Yeah, it doesn't really put you down a card. It puts you down a land, if that makes sense. What else is the three of? Three of natural order, three of crop rotation, um, three once upon a time. What's the blue land for again? Sorry, no problem. So this piece of tech here is for the Doomsday players. Sorry, Romario. Cover your ears here. But it's because the Doomsday matchup for elves is very difficult, and I think Doomsday players are some of the best in Legacy. No, see, I think you guys are some of the best in Legacy, Romero. That's why I'm playing it. And I think in any given big tournament, like you're gonna see like Kai or Romario or like Ethan, uh, Max Gilmore, any of the Doomsday ringers, I should say. But I suffer so much. Yeah, so it's more respect out of anything. You don't see me bring targeted hate to like what it's called like D&T or something like that. Sorry if you're a D&T player out there. I played D&T too before, but it, Elves needs the help. It's not that we want to target you or anything. Like it's nothing personal. We just need the help in the matchup. I think this is a matchup we want Progenitus. I don't think we want Ooze. Like they didn't seem like they were on the Rector version. Uh, it's narrow. Jubi Ninja. I'll say that. So it doesn't actually come in a lot, but when it's good, it's very good. Usually we have more than one creature though, Jacob. No, I disagree. I like Progenitus a lot because we have something to sack, and I think we just want to go fast in this matchup. Actually, Shepherd might be pretty bad because they don't have. It's weak to Plague Engineer and Sweepers, and it doesn't actually help our game plan. Let's see. We gotta quickly go. So that's probably fine. Actually, this should come in. Oops. We should have boarded in the Cabal Pit for the Plague Engineer, but click too quickly. Also, it's good with the crop rotation package. That's fine. I actually think now, in hindsight, no, there's a so repo cheap. There's a trop so that I can fetch up. I almost cast the Thoughtseize by accident there. This is interesting. Usually, when in doubt, it's Cradle, but we have two crop rotations in hand. I think I'm gonna take the Ranger here because of the crop rotation. What do they have? Liliana Last Hope. That is getting out of here. So they, if I were to guess, they're gonna go for the Wasteland player. Nope, never mind. They're not gonna go for the Cheese Win. Yeah, I think Rangers there, like, just two crop rotations is too awkward. Like, in hindsight, I should probably board one out for the That's not good for us because if they flash it back, they're gonna hit like a million things. How's it going, Pat? So they went with a safe guarantee play. No Leo. I don't like it personally because actually this plays around the Wasteland here. No Leo because I think like what do we want it for is the problem. Like it's decent against control decks, but it's way too slow against combo. Like especially since unless we can't get a turn two, turn three maybe, but that's assuming they don't have Thoughtseize just and like, hey Karina, how's it going, man? Or ma'am. Oh goodness. All right, that is not good. If we don't use it, we lose it anyway, so we might as well rotate for the Cradle anyways. Yeah, that's a heads up play by our opponent for sure. Yeah, so we lose it. So what we do here is we essentially guarantee that we lose the bayou, the tropical island instead of the bayou. Yeah, now I'm kind of regretting the boarding the fourth crop rotation because of how awkward it was. Although to be fair, Cabal Pit's not great in this board state either. Yeah, hope everything is good between you guys, Karina and Pat. I mean, Leo is decent against. The problem is you're not gonna live that long, or if you have, like, something else has gone wrong for them. So they're just gonna let this crop rot in our hand. Get it? That was unintentional. I'll admit that. We're just gonna keep this in hand in case we draw a glimpse down the road. That's good to hear, Pat. All right, this ooze is gonna start pressuring us. Typically, I don't mind this matchup too, but oh my goodness, we are not drawing well at all. Well, at least we get to cycle that now, which is nice. PT, I can't. I don't know what you wrote there, Pat. Care to elaborate? All right, it's time to cycle this. Partner with Twitch. Oh no, I wish. I don't stream enough to, I think. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of hate. Uh huh. I think I think we take the cheat. The actually the decay is probably more relevant because it's instant speed. I think this is an L here though. Yeah. Like they're gonna. We got into a grind fest with them, and unfortunately, we boarded in like we wanted to go fast and couldn't. We didn't draw any of the relevant combo pieces yet. I think it's probably game. I did beat a Liliana of the Last Hope turn 3 Liliana Last Hope before, and without killing until like turn 9. But I don't think this game is gonna play out that way. And the way I did it was I just kept drawing with Visionaries and and Glimpse of Natures. But we're just dead here. Yep. So props to Meowface. Like that was well played on their behalf. We are 1-1 in this league. Maybe we can finish strong, finish 4-1, like we did in the previous league. That was a brutal beating, though. I think maybe it's possible we don't try to win with speed there and we just, well, I think Thoughtseize is correct. The thing is, we boarded in Alistor Shepherds. Oh, sorry, boarded out Alistor Shepherds. I think it's probably correct to actually not, well, depends how fast we want to go, but maybe potentially board out the crop rotations instead, so we have more creatures. Like, and it was just we didn't draw any payoff spell. I forget it was that game or game one where we had to Green Sun for an Arbor. I think it might have been that game. And I think if we had the Shepherds, maybe we don't have to do that. Yeah, that's fair, Jacob. I usually keep most hands. The problem, the I forgot what I hit off the Once Upon a Time, but it was not great. Yeah, I think Seize is very good in the matchup for what it's worth. But I think it's possible we misboarded too because um, the crop rotations felt really poor that game, and maybe it's because their Wastelands threw us off game one. But Maguire CJ, I played against them recently. I don't remember what they're on. This hand is very good. The only way this hand gets better is if this is a cradle, but this hand is like very good. Oh jeez, they're on Karn Echoes. That's not really a matchup I want to see. No, they're on Moonstompy. That's right, they were on that last time we played too. Basic Force. Nope. Yeah, I hate this matchup. Not so much because it's not winnable. It's the problem is whoever goes first probably wins. Yeah, it's definitely an F for sure, Jacob. This is not no bueno for sure. The problem here is like there's no counterplay from our side. Like at least game one. Like if they're on the play and they go turn one Trinisphere, turn one Blood Moon, we just lose the game. And there's no reason from their side not to do it if they have it. Yeah, that's the game is very different if we're on the play. because we have turn 3 Archon instead, not able to cast a spell. We're just dead here. I don't think we want to reveal information, so we're just going to concede. So it's good we brought the Rex Sage. Now we get a seat. And chat, I'm going to be dependent on you because I know I'm going to forget. Let's keep track if this is better or if Mass Vandal would have been better. Because this is the exact matchup I want this card for because it's popular at the moment. Actually, I think with Rex Sage we probably don't need Oof, though it's not bad. I don't think... Yeah, most versions don't have Karn at the moment, so I think we probably leave that out. Crop rotation is horrendous in this matchup. Oops, we don't want this. Why do I have 61 cards? What am I forgetting? So we don't want any of the lands because they're gonna Blood Moon us. And I played against them recently, so they probably remember too. My guess is this probably okay. Yeah, exactly. What do you think, chat? Third Waterwood or Oof? I feel like Oof just because it plays through Chalice. Yeah, this is horrendous in this matchup. Against something like Show and Tell, it's not going to be relevant. But this matchup, I think it is. Depends on how the pilot's board, though. Ugh. Man, I think we get severely punished here if they have the Blood Moon. I think we keep and see how it goes. Yeah, I agree, Jacob. I think Oof is fine just because it's CMC 2 as well. It like randomly kills Moxen. Also, would have been relevant if they're on the Karn build. Yeah, agreed. I don't think they would be looking for Moon on the draw, Jubi Ninja. The reason being is because like odds are we have a fetch, and this Trop is killing us because that normally would have been the 8th fetch. But we have to do something against Doomsday, right? Like I either pick to lose to Moon or I pick to lose to Doomsday. I don't think Blood Moon is great again. Oh my god, they're gonna go for the Blood Moon. Or, yep. I agree. I would hunt for Chalice or 3-ball, but like they got us here with the Blood Moon. I don't think we like this hand is very good and we don't get mooned. Levi, see, this is what I mean. Like we're getting punished now for this Trop. This is a fetch otherwise. I'm just messing. Levi is actually one of the most impressive young players I've met, and he helped me a lot during the mocks to learn Green White Reclaimer. Yeah, Force of Vigor would be pretty nice right now. Yikes. It's interesting that they would hunt for the. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that's just what their hand dictated. For the turn 1 Magus, they definitely slam it turn 1 if they see we don't have the basic force. Yeah, it wouldn't help right now, but we're just dead, I think. This is definitely Sage, as the young Zoomers would say. I agree, Levi. Like, I ideally play this in the sideboard, but there's just not enough rooms. Not enough room. Hey, Zachary, how's it going, man? This is pretty much how game 1 went, too. I take that back. Game 1, we didn't even have a creature. We cast only one spell this entire match. Yeah, we're just dead. There's like no out, pretty much. Like, there's just too much damage going on. Not that it would have mattered. Alright, so fun games of Magic going on there. I think it's funny. We got severely punished there for the Trop being in the deck. Uh, like I've been going back and forth, and anybody in my Discord knows. Like, do I really want the Trop and the Rivulet for Doomsday, or do I just want to play a cleaner mana base? And at least there, the cleaner mana base would have helped. Maybe Sage should just be the Trop. That's potential. I don't think this is like that important against Moon Stompy. Like it's good. Don't tell me wrong, but we can beat it with other things. But that it felt real bad right now to lose like that. And if the Trump were in the sideboard theoretically, you could bring it against the waste. You can bring it in against the wasteland decks too, if you want, because what that does is allows Once Upon a Time to be more action instead of just hitting lands. But we got like severely punished right there for the Trop. It doesn't happen often. Like I've played with the Trop the last few leagues, and it's typically been fine, but it's not free, as you can see. I don't think we care about Bridge because of Archon, at least in that matchup. For what it's worth, decent. Like I've beat many ensnaring bridges. Like I know when Oko was legal, other elf pilots were off Archon. I just think Archon does too much, and one of the things it does is beat an ensnaring bridge. So funny story. I have Green Sun before with both arbors in my hand, and just because I autopilot sometimes. So do not be like me. Be better. We're just gonna like vomit our hand and then green natural order next turn. They're probably on lands or Maverick, if I were to guess. It looks like lands. Why in the world would they pitch a blast zone? That is... Oh, they have a kill. Alright, so they have the kill. GW lands. So they can pitch and then make a Merit Lage, and then we don't have lethal. Or let's see. If we do it this way, well, I'm just gonna go. We had 3 attackers, 5 each. Then that's lethal, I think, through a. One second. We untap twice. We had 3 attackers through whatever, yeah, through a Merit Lage here. Because that's 16 damage here. 18 damage, my mistake. Hopefully my math is correct. I think it is. That we have lethal. So anybody who doesn't follow this build that says you can't net mana, that's not true with this build. Like everybody just saw me net mana with Quirion Ranger and Wirewood because as long as you have enough forest, like you could do kind of crazy things like that. And we just had lethal. We didn't need to play sector. No, we did, Levi. It net us one mana, but because when we did that, because we needed the Wirewood to generate one mana off the Quirion Ranger. Like because when we played the Wirewood net us one mana there, Levi. Otherwise, we wouldn't have three attackers because they can chump block the Craterhoof. Yeah, you can check out the VOD later, but I've been through enough times to know. So they went for the kill and got punished. Like Rex Sage is real good in this matchup to kill exploration. We want the Crop, we want the Karakas, we want the Bog. Did we see? Oh, we saw Flagstones, which tells me that they're on the green-white version. Cabal Pit's probably pretty good. They may have some Hate Bears, but I don't know if I want to preemptively board in Abrupt Decay. Because they're on white, we definitely want Progenitus. Oh, was it Karakas? You're right, it was Karakas, not Flagstones. So, what was their other land? Thespian Stage, Karakas, Blast Zone, and what am I missing? Bayou, was it? Oh, Basic Forest. I don't think they're on green white deaths. Maybe they are. I think regardless, we're gonna want the Karakas. The Bug is like low. Well, we probably don't want the Pit now, actually. I don't think we want the Ooze. The Rex Sage is like decent in case they are on lands, but because it's Karakas and basic, I feel like they would not just pass like that. Although I could be wrong. Well, they do went turn one library. I think we play for speed for sure. I think if they're on lands, Rex Sage is really good. But so is like Ooze. But Ooze is real bad if they're on depths. I think I'll leave it at this and see what they're on. We're not 100% sure, but we have the Bog just in case. And the full set of crop rotation. Yeah, this is fine. Green White Depths is a sweet deck, by the way. So is lands, but I guess I'm a little bitter because I don't like my lands getting blown up. We need a creature for the glimpse. It's interesting too because I used to play only one Shepherd because I think it's like it's kind of like the new Heritage Druid in my opinion. Like the respect that people give for it is way more than it probably deserves, especially blue players because they're not used to being able to say no or not being able to say no. And I'm only playing more partially because it just soaks removal for Reclaimer. Ooze could be different. The problem is I just don't want a blank against depths is the issue. Although, and yeah, okay, so they are on like green white, like 4C lands with Reclaimer probably. Hmm. So we're on the Hardcast Hoofplant now. If they attack, we're 100% double blocking. Like, I don't think they run Lightning Bolt anymore now that Arcanus is banned. Yeah, it could be. That is true. All right. What do we want to do here? I feel like blue players need to remember that they run removal. I pushed a Shepherd to counters. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I think Shepherd is a glorified duress. Like, that's what it really is. The problem is, you don't take their forcible, you take their lightning bolt. Is what happens. I'm just gonna run it out, and if they wasteland us, we crop in response. Like, we're getting close to the Hardcast hoof. There's argument to be made that I should have morphed the Birchlow Rangers. All right, perfect. This card is just broken in my opinion. I think the card is great, but I've seen a ton of Discord about it being too much. I'm not convinced yet. I think it's good. I don't think it's like too much because it's no different than if Elves played Duress. The only thing is it's on color. So yeah, there's a couple of things that are scary for sure. Decent. Like if they banned. Okay, they're gonna wasteland us here. I think. Yep. I think they're scared of the natural order coming, which is smart. Like they should be. Hmm. We can squeeze in one damage here. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing, right? Like elves could easily play Veil Summer if they really wanted to in that slot. I don't think it's too much. And I honestly wouldn't really care if they banned Shepherd. Like it doesn't really affect how this deck plays out. Like it helps, don't get me wrong, because it makes sequencing a nightmare for blue players. But at the end of the day, counterspell deck is not really what elves is afraid of. Like anybody who's been on either side of that matchup, like in the blue control versus elves matchup from either side, will know that counterspells typically have not been able to beat elves. It's sweepers or fast combo. All right, so counter, yeah, that's the bane of my existence. Miracle control, like man, what a deck back in the day. Here we have 4, 5, like not enough mana essentially. So let's see, 3, 4, 5. Nope. I think we played the Shepherd here, and well, let's see. We played the land. We have next turn we have 6 mana. I don't want to leave the Shepherd exposed. That's pretty funny, Levi. I don't want to leave the Shepherd exposed to an STP. So I'm just gonna go with the Wirewood here. And pass. I think we play the Bayou for the turn. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Jacob. I was just thinking if we need the Shepherd on board to be able to activate in the same turn and swing for lethal. I don't think. I think the greedy play is just to run this out. Like when they haven't when they played zero removal this game so far, and 3 cards in hand. All right, that's. All right, let's do this correctly. They have a swords in hand, based on that pause. Hoof can arrive, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, that's wrong. I should bounce the. 7, 8. Yeah, that's hoof time. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Shepherd line, but who said it? Diego is 100% right. We could just hoof there. What up, Jonathan? I want to show you something. We have twin situation assembled, but not even needed here, Jonathan. Twin situation assembled, not needed. So for those of you who don't know, Jonathan is a, I'm gonna put it out here. Anybody, I'm gonna do a quick shout out for Jonathan. That force of negation is unfair in modern. So, okay, we're on the same wavelength as usual. This is gonna be great having Jonathan here. I do apologize. I do need to use a quick restroom break again, but we're gonna have some fun in our last match. We went 4-1 in our first league, and then now we're 2-2 in this league. So I will be right back, Jonathan. I apologize for the restroom break. Yeah, we need the new Sid. We're back. I know I need to update the bog to the old border frame. But now that Jonathan is here, we're gonna have some fun for sure with twin situation. So yeah, we went we started 0-1 because of punt on my behalf, but Diego played well. We played Diego round 1. Sports and engaged. That's awesome. Jonathan's not gonna be happy with me, but shout out to Jonathan too. He also helped me during the mocks, put me in contact with the right people, for sure. We started 0-1, lost to Diego, and rolled off four straight to go 4-1 in the first league. Uh, we lost to Nitfit of all decks in this league, but this is a good hand. We lost to Nitfit because of Liliana just not drawing very well, and then we got Blood Moon turn one 2 times out of Moon Stompy. So that is a matchup I'd rather not see. So we have the good old hide, good luck, and have fun. I hope I don't get turn one. Like usually when people say that, I get turn one right after. I thought Nitfit is a buy for elves. It depends. Like we didn't draw very well, so I don't think it's a buy, but I do think I like the matchup, Jonathan. This smells like Stifle. We can't play around it, unfortunately. Dodge one there. Days? Okay, that is an interesting play. Maybe they're looking for the days. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's good, but I know Diego like got me with it for sure, and I've been got by other people with it. I think it's not particularly good against elves though, but people are playing it in more aggressive builds. I'm almost happy they did this, to be honest. It's the same thing, right? I'm ahead on the land. Euro Stifle is definitely dirty, yeah. So I know Diego had Euro in his list, so that's definitely one of the main reasons to play Stifle right now, I think. Yeah, Mox and Wastelands too, for sure. Now, I think the only way you lose game one against Delver is just by not developing your board. And why they know one turn? I don't know. That's a good question. Like they could have stifled my land if they had it. So I don't know what they were doing there. Maybe they just want to get value out of the days. It's hard to say. I think here, given that maybe they must have drawn it, it's possible. We can either play for the card advantage or we can play for the and then I think we play for the card advantage here. We're like we don't want the green sun to get well, we want business, right? And then we can't cast it like anytime soon. I think the way you lose to Delver game one now without Arcanus is they have double Delver flipped, and we just draw poorly. So they didn't even set up their Delver, which is interesting. Like, seems like a mistake to me, but yeah, I don't know, Zachary. Like, we'll take it though. So our next line is Visionary here. Like, we have to draw out the Force. Um, if we have the Shepherd, we have the Shepherd. But I find the Delver matchup is like very good now because you should not lose game one in most cases. Like sometimes it happens, but like I said, you should not lose game one in most cases. Don't spell pierce me. It's like the old like don't tase me, bro, right? Like don't spell pierce me. Two drops? What is going on? Yeah, I typically don't call for bannings too often, Diego, and but man, did I hate Dreadhorde Arcanus. Like, j- it's not a fun card to play against. I talked to this to Jonathan a lot. Like, I know he hates Euro in Modern or hated Euro in Modern. I just hate Dreadhorde Arcanus in Legacy. Like, the whole game warps around turn 2 Arcanus. This might get forced now. It did not. That is a very good draw. Thank you, John. Thank you. Dreadhorde Arcanus is it almost read like Hermit Druid. Like if they untap with it, you lose the game, which is not the type of gameplay I enjoy. All right, this is gonna be some stuff that some newer elf players won't see it before, but I'm actually not gonna bounce Visionary right now, and there's a good reason. So if you bounce Visionary, you only have potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 mana to start next turn. I want to start with 5. Yeah, yeah. I guess Soul Tide makes sense. I think Underground would have made more sense, right? I think here this goes to 4 mana. It's a little bit interesting. I think yeah, we just play the Arbor and then Visionary now. Like the thing about this is we have a ton of time because they're on Bug Delver, so there's no like lightning bolt to kill us out of nowhere. And if they try to Euro, we have the Bog, right? That's fine. I do not think 1 extra draw is worth wasting the crowd rotation here. And they're almost guaranteed to wasteland us here if they have it. Like they cannot let us untap with Gaia's Cradle, in my opinion. Especially since they don't have. Sure. Especially since they don't have a clock, or not like a relevant one. Dreadhorde Arcanus can be upgraded from Hell to Super Hell. So this puts us a 7. Sorry, to 5 if we take it. I am not sure we do. Let me think. So we'd be on a turn 2 clock. I think it's probably still. I think we can still win within 2 turns. I think we want the mana. Sure. So they don't have the wasteland. Well, that's pretty good. All right, so we have a kill here. If they have Stifle, that's gonna be bad. That's also very good. I think here we just play the hoof and go for the kill. We still have the ooze next turn if need be. Against Bug, I feel like if like part of me wants to keep in the natural order package because did we see Thoughtseize? I don't think we did, right? If they're on the Euro plan, I just like going low to the ground. It's probably correct just to go low to the ground actually against Delver. Like it's safer than not doing so. And then we just boarded removal essentially. And then the Bog is good against Euro, and then we have Cabal Pit for the Engineer. This is typically how I board against most Delver decks, not against Blue Red though. The reason being is you need to race Blue Red. They're like a burn deck. Yeah, it probably cost us one match against Moon earlier because we drew the Trop, unfortunately, against Moon Stompy, and they turn one Blood Moon us. And normally that Trop would be the 8th fetch. But yeah, this is for Doomsday. So Romero, if you're in the chat or Max is in the chat, cover your ears, please. You might not want to hear this. I think this card has been very underwhelming. Like, it wasn't even good against the Moon player. Like, I have not been impressed with Rexage in a very long time, and every time I play, I regret it. I think we just want to be low to the ground, right? Like, they're a Wasteland deck. If the game goes late, we win anyways because we have Scavenging Ooze. We have just a lot of ways to finish the game. This is an insane hand. I think the only thing that would be better is like this is actually another land, and then we have like a decay or something. This is Reclaimer is better than Shepherd in this matchup, and I don't think it's close. Like the amount of things Reclaimer does in this matchup is just kind of insane. Like especially against bolt-based Delver decks, like they can't kill it. It's essentially a Tarmogoyf against Delver. I think here we just want to hit land drops, but the Ooze is actually very good too. But yeah, if they kill the Arbor, it's a little bit more dicey. Another thing we can do here is just save the Green Sun. I actually do like that. Yeah, let's do that actually. It's hard to say no to Gaia's Cradle. Like, very agreed. I like days checking for sure as well. Like, it's almost like ramp, right? Like they set themselves back. Decay. Yep, that's fine. I think here it's gonna be well, actually that changes things. Yeah. We're gonna go Shepherd into Reclaimer here. Like now they have two threats they need to worry about. Elves is all about sequencing, in my opinion. Like that's actually what makes it hard to play, especially this version. Your control deck, aggro deck, and a combo deck all at the same time, and balancing it is what makes this deck hard to play. Engineer, Euro, that's fine. I'm kind of happy actually. We have the natural Bog in hand in case they kill our Reclaimer. This is actually pretty nice. Like, if they had drawn into like fetch, kill Reclaimer with Fatal Push or something, and then I think here we attack and see what they do. I don't. They can waste and like fetch, I guess, to yeah, we better just Bog right now. That's greedy not to. Something bad can happen if we don't Bog here. namely Earl, gets into play. Every once in a while, you'll have opponents who want to wasteland so aggressively, despite a reclaimer being up. Gurmet is also an agreed. Usually, it's kind of greedy, I think, to play Mandrills or Gurmag alongside Earl, but I mean, some players are very greedy, so hard to say. This is almost like it's not quite a twin situation. It's more like for anybody who follows basketball, it's like LeBron and Wade or Jordan and Pippen. All right, interesting. All right, so they got another Earl, which is annoying. Yeah, I think if we don't, I don't know why. What are they doing? I think we get the Arbor because we have the Cradle in hand. Caldera one time. This is what I mean. Like sometimes your opponent gets so what is it called? So tunnel vision into the wasteland line that they don't even see the reclaimers up. Ooze is pretty good here to eat the Earl, but I think we just want to draw so our glimpse is live. Wow, what a draw. We got exactly rewarded there for our visionary. I think our opponent could have done things, yeah, a little bit differently because they brainstormed twice. First of all, in the game one, Delver should have flipped after the first brainstorm, and then we, yeah, we they ran the wasteland right into our reclaimer with 2 mana up. Thank you. Yeah, I mean I can't take credit. Like our opponent probably played or is unfamiliar with the matchup. We can go back to this screen, but we salvaged this league at 3-2. We went 4-1 first league, so 7-3 overall. Um, I think we could have played a little bit better against. Well, it's not even played better. It's more like a misclick against Diego in game 3 when we played the fetch instead of the basic forest. Um, but I can't complain about that. I think the thing that hurts is the knit fit loss. We drew really poorly. And I don't mind losing to turn one moon both games. Like we're not gonna beat that regardless. Like there's nothing that's out of our hands. I think the deck felt good overall. I think like it's funny. One of the reasons why I played this list today was because I wanted to see like how bad or good I guess the blue splash for Rivulet is, and it did cost us 1 game against Moon Stompy, but maybe that's irrelevant. Like we probably lose anyways. Game 3 being on the draw. Rex Age, I'm not particularly impressed with. I know Levi suggested moving the Trop to the sideboard in place of the Rex Age and play the 8th fetch. That's a possibility. Or this can just be the 8th, so not the 8th, the 5th discard spell. Force is actually an interesting card. It's decent. It's very narrow, but it's very strong. It's funny too because I've also often joked that Force of Vigor is secretly a anti-green card because it's run by the enemy, namely the graveyard decks, who want to hit our ley lines. And it's funny too because the green card that's secretly a black card, and then you have the black card which is secretly a green card in Bajuka Bog. So you see what I did there? Like this is to fight the villain, which is a black card, and they use a green card to fight the green people. So it's kind of ironic in a way. Um, I am not particularly impressed with this card. Hard to say if Mass Mana would have been better, but yeah, boo graveyard decks for sure, Jonathan.
I think the deck is fine. I definitely do like the fourth rotation, even if I don't always bring it in. Like I'm not gonna bring it against Delver, for instance, but it's nice to have as an extra Bog or an extra Karakas. Like this is essentially Gaia's Trump or Dark Ritual or whatever you want it to be. Yeah, I think the fifth therapy sounds pretty good. Like, and maybe we just accept losing to Moonstompy. Like that matchup, like the hands typically just play themselves. Like there's not a lot of counterplay in my opinion. If they're on the play, they probably win the match. If we're on the play, we probably win the match. Like it's kind of crazy, but that's most of the time what happens. The only time you can steal a game is if they move to like five and you have the natural order. Like every once in a while that happens, but especially if they know I'm on like the crop rotation list, like Blood Moon is probably staying in. I think everything else is like pretty standard. Like I'm unsure about this card, but I'm almost certain there's a good chance you're gonna run to Doomsday in a big event. So it's whether you want to target them or not. Like the Trop did cost us one game against Moonstompy for what it's worth, but overall not a big deal. Anybody have any questions? I think the this probably goes. I hated this card. I've always really hated this card. So Jonathan, one last time. We're just gonna do it just for kicks. Yeah, that's what Levi suggested, Jacob. So chat, what do you think about the prospects of running the Trop in the sideboard? We're not a blue deck, so we don't have the luxury of having like Force of Will as main deck disruption that's flexible. So our sideboard slots matter even more. Do you think it's worth it to run the Trop in the sideboard? Yeah, I think a lot of Doomsday players are on Moto, probably less so on paper, but it's tough. Like I do think there's a reasonable chance that we run into them, and I think that's the one matchup I don't feel good about at the moment, especially at least without Rivulet. I think it's probably closer to even, or we're slightly ahead if we have it. But yeah, hard to say, right? Like if we don't run it, this is probably the sixth discard. I mean, I've been running in a league. It's funny because every time I don't run it, I lose to Doomsday, and every time I do run it, I don't play against it. So maybe it's good I run it so I don't get paired against it. But I don't like this card. Like I just yeah, I think it's a waste of a slot. I need to pick up fourth crop. I opted for trophy to fill the all around role that Wasteland Decay would. Yeah, I think trophy is more. I think trophy is more defensible now that Arcanus is banned. So Negator, my kryptonite, so to speak, has popped in. Tom Hep, welcome to the house. So for those who follow Moto at all, you know, by this time, if Tom were taking it seriously, this would be at like 40 already. And if he, but he's giving us a chance, giving me a chance. Like my record probably would be like a few percentage points higher if it weren't for running to Tom every night. I do think with the new list, Tom, I don't. Tom has been playing chess. I do think with the new list, it's closer to even though, because with four crop rotation in the 75, and speaking of which, Tom, this is the list I wanted to share with you. When I mentioned a while back, like it plays eight crop rotation, 12 if you include Green Sun, right? So you can do all kinds of crazy things with this list. Like, I think I told this to chat earlier. Like, compared to the stock list, I think this list is almost strictly better at the moment because you have the resilience of Reclaimer, but then you have the speed now to match Nettle Sentinel slash Heritage Druid of crop rotation. 15 if you count once upon. That's true. Yeah. Speaking of which, okay, let's go back to the old collection. I gotta change the deck name. I'm slacking off. It's still here, by the way. Tombo Depths. Yeah, the card. So I told chat earlier, and I know this is probably an outrageous claim. I know this is an outrageous claim, but I think Elves was actually misbuilt the entire 2013 to 2020 era now. Tombo Depths is undefeated. That's correct. I have never lost with Tombo Depths. So maybe that's a reason to play. Granted, I was not doing any of the heavy lifting, and Tom essentially was playing for me at the time. But we did run one league together, and I do think, like I said, I think this card is just completely broken, and I know how Tom partially gets all his wins besides just being an insane player. But this card is Dark Ritual for Elves plus anti Tom hate, anti who runs anti Hogak hate, or all the dredge players like the Daddy, for instance, anti Plague Engineer if you or anti Delver and Hate Bears if you keep in your crop rotations, anti Romario. This card literally does everything you want. And if I could, I would probably play 4 in the main, and I have kind of recently. It also draws a card, which is kind of insane because we've all been there where you top deck a Heritage Druid and it's just why is this happening? When your board is just nothing going on and you just need some action to answer the Delver that's clocking you, right? Elvish Ranger, what is that? 4-1. But yeah, it gets Arbor in case you need another creature for natural order. It literally does everything in this deck, and I'm almost sad. I posted on Twitter, I'll bring it up. I posted on Twitter just a little while ago. Actually, where is it? Sorry, chat. I'm bringing it up. But here's how I would have built Elves back in the day if I could. Actually, forget Twitter. I can't find it right now. I'll just bring up the... I'll just bring up the actual image itself. Ah, here it is. So if I can go back in time, chat, here's how I would build Elves now. How people were not playing Git Probe in every deck is beyond me. Myself included, I'm guilty of that. And instead of the Heritage Nettle Sentinel package, because you have Git Probe, oops, indeed. You just have three crop rotations in the main. For 3 weeks. So it's funny, Archon was not on Moto, but I actually got to play one event with Deathrite Shaman alongside Archon. I had 0 reps with it, but I was so convinced of this card I played in the sideboard. And needless to say, I won that tournament. For Deathrite Shaman with the natural order for Archon out of the sideboard, and Gadok T just because I was Savannah at the time. But it was pretty broken. I mean, there is 2 therapy here, right? I guess you can go 3-3. This is highly experimental. Obviously I haven't played anybody with this because who wants to play a dead format? But yeah, this is how I would build now, and I think myself included, I think Elves was just completely misbuilt during the Deathrite era because we could have been playing 4 crop rotations, and this card is just beyond busted. It was only 2 months ago when I started playing 3 to 4 copies of this in the main, and I alternated between the 2. It took me 1 game to realize this is just broken, and I need to rebuild the deck around crop rotation. So yeah, that's the thing, right? Just like people took a while to play 4 Dreadhorde Arcanist like I don't think people realize how strong crop rotation is, and that's because Gaia's Cradle is probably the most broken card in all of Legacy. Like it's that or LED in my opinion. It's possible we could have landed with Probe, but like I don't like mulliganing with this deck to be fair, Jacob, and we have a Horizon to be fair. You really need to give Jax royalties for how much you praise. I mean, to be fair, the deck is called Oops All Kratos. If that's not respect, I don't know what is decent. Like, I know the community is very divided on Reclaimer. Like, if you don't want to play Reclaimer, that's fine. Like, if you want to play for speed, you can just play 4 Heritage Druids. I do think it's completely wrong not to play like 3 to 4 crop rotations. Probably 4 is even right. I wouldn't be surprised. But like this is like dark ritual for green decks. Like you have the burst mana that you never did before. Like, and you don't need to have like 3-card combo in Heritage Druid, Nettle Sentinel. I guess that's a 2-card combo, right? Like for fast mana. And I haven't had more turn 2 natural orders playing elves than I had since I ran 4 Birchlore, 4 Nettle, 4 Heritage than I had when I started running this package. Because you go turn 1 Green Sun for Arbor, turn 2 Ranger, crop rotation, get Cradle, and that's natural order for Archon. That's game. Yeah, so that's a fair criticism, Jacob. And that's actually why I'm only running 3 crop in the main. It's because you don't really want to draw the second one. And if you do draw one and you don't have a creature, then it cycles with Peatland anyways off a Glimpse. To be fair, Jacob, that's kind of true, but this is like a spell as well. I mean, a creature as well. It's just a slow creature. You do have what? 4, 7, 11, 14 spells in my opinion. And this is like a half spell because it can get Arbor. Or my favorite play, we didn't get to do it today unfortunately because we didn't play against Lightning Bolt decks, is the full blowout when you play a Summoning Sick Reclaimer with 1 mana up and they bolt it and you crop in response with 2 lands in the yard. So so okay. For those who don't know, Tom is very anti Once Upon a Time, and oh, no problem, Diego. I'm glad you were able to join. Thanks for the raid earlier again. Appreciate it for sure. So for those who don't know, Tom is very against Once Upon a Time in Tombow depths, and I think I understand why. One of the reasons why Tom, that's funny. So once upon once upon a time, I think is less good in Tombow depths, because one of the reasons why Tom does well against me is because he aggressively molds for the combo. I don't think you can aggressively mold, or you can, I guess, in elves. Like it's a critical mass deck, so you really want to have hand smoothing, and I think that's the big difference between why Once Upon a Time, in my opinion, it's better in elves than it is in turbo depths because you can't really mold a 4 and or in Tom's case mold a 3 and still kill me. You can still aggressively move for the kill, for instance, if you know you're playing against like Tess or something, where you need a fast kill or the mirror. So when I first built with Reclaimer, I actually played the Thespian stage, one Thespian stage and one Dark Depths in the side in the main deck, and then I didn't have natural order, but I did have 4 crop rotation, 4 Reclaimer, and I have been able to stage my opponent's Dark Depths before for the kill, which is pretty sweet. But that was like over a year ago, obviously. A year and a half specifically. Yeah, so Jax, one of the last matches before break I won on a Multi 2. Jeez. So Tom has beaten me at least twice that I'm aware of, on a Multi 3 and probably another time on a Multi 4. And I basically just concede the matchup now. Like I can beat other Devs players, but I can't beat Tom. I think my record against Tom is probably like 10% or something, and against other depths players, on the whole range, turbo all the way to slow depths, is probably close to like 60% if I were to guess. So that's the kind of skill that Tom has compared to me and compared to the other depths pilots. So yeah, shout out to Tom. Like the good thing is he's not playing at the moment, so I haven't been losing to Tom. Only because record 0-0 since his retirement. Anybody have any? Actually, here's a good question. I know some people ask about the scavengers. I think it's kind of necessary at the moment because Delver's playing very much like a burn deck, and you just need something to stabilize late. Against blue red, for instance, I like keeping the natural orders because by the time you kind of like stabilize, so to speak, you're down to like 6, and you need a fast kill. I still wish there was a way to play more Birch Lords. I think more Birch Lords is defensible. I think the second one does do things. You can play it instead of the Shepherd, in my opinion. The other thing you can do is you can play. I know George got to made a top 8 kind of recently with, or let me rephrase that. I apologize. It's Yurg. Yurg is how it's pronounced, even though his name is pronounced spelled Jorg. But so you can play the second Birch Lord over the third crop, but I just think this card is too strong not to play at least 3 in the main deck. Yeah, I agree, decent. You're making the right move. This card is very broken. And like I said, it took me 1 game in this new build to figure that out. Like, it took me 1 match with Reclaimer to figure out how good this card is. It took me 1 game. For what it's worth. And I think, like, I joke this deck is almost like, oops, all broken green cards now. Like, no matter what Tom says about Once Upon a Time, I think it's good in Elves just for hand smoothing. Like, I can't really mold a tool and win like Tom does. No bad cards Elves, that's what Max calls this, or hard mode Elves because, I mean, I'm obviously biased, but Jax agrees, and Jax is no stranger to combo decks. But Jax has called my Elf list the hardest deck he's ever played. Like, and he's played all the combo decks. Yeah. Actually, no. To be fair, this is one bad card. Elves. The bad card is right here. It's one bad card Elves now with Progenitus. Actually, cut this Rex Sage. I think. It's not here, but yeah. Hex Drinker. So for what it's worth, I did play Hex Drinker in a league before and 5-0'd with it in the sideboard. That's shout out to Jack Kendall. He asked me to try it, and it actually does stuff. The only thing is what it does is largely duplicated in what Reclaimer does. The main thing it does is if your opponent ever taps out, now you have a mini Progenitus, or that's a 4/4, right? Fetch in the main, drop to the side as we suggested earlier. I'm not 100% sure about that. Like, I feel like that's almost a waste of a slot because the trop only really costs us 1 game, and I think it's otherwise okay. It's not the end. Sometimes you fetch it to bluff, but that doesn't really happen often. Or you just need another like land drop in the late game. I've been running through leagues with multiple hexes in the sideboard, and now I'm over the card after it being either nuts or perfectly medium. Yeah, see, that's the card. I hate those kind of cards. I want cards that are always good, and I think Crop is like pretty much always good. I think everything I'm playing now is almost always good. Like, I wish if like I wanted to do Yorion for some reason, like I'd play more Birch Lords, but yeah, the problem with Sylvan Library is, and maybe this means that you just mold more, is it doesn't go well with Once Upon a Time. And I do not want to cut Once Upon a Time. I think Once Upon a Time is at its best in Elves. Because you have a broken land that you can find, and then you have also broken creatures that you can find. Namely these 3. And then this, goes with this, to be honest. One ley line side that sent a message. I know people who will play one lane line. It's kind of crazy to me. I don't think I would do that, but I have played two lane line. That's the depth special. I got that idea from Depths, who split between ley lines and surgical. Like I can't take credit for that. Any questions? Yeah, I think. I mean, we set out to figure out if we want Rivulet today. I think we probably do. Like my heart tells me no, but my brain tells me yes. It is 11% chance. That's true. It is. I think the thing is like we're at 17 non-creature spells. I don't know how much Maverick plays, but you have to be cognizant. Like it's not free for sure to play Once Upon a Time. Like I think the only decks that can really play it are Elves, Maverick, Cloud Post. I think lands if they really wanted to, but there's not one specific land they want to see, and they don't really need mana smoothing. 23-25 is a lot, I think. And maybe Once Upon a Time, they have to make concessions, right? Like there's 4 Green Suns, 4 Swords to Plowshares, probably 2 equipment if you're playing the Stoneforge package. I mean, I think it's insane in Eldrazi. Like if you have some nuts draws, and that deck, that's kind of what it does. I think you can't play the Decays or the Punishing Fires in Maverick if you're gonna play Once Upon a Time. Like there's trade offs, right? I do like the lists that's kind of like Achilles 27 plays a lot. Like they tend to run Plague Engineer's main and like cut on the Stoneforge package before. I don't know if I would play Decays to fit Once Upon a Times, but I'd have to fiddle with Maverick. And I think, no offense to the Maverick players, but I think Elves is Maverick, but with a combo kill. Like you don't have the Wasteland kills, but I think Elves is a better deck. And that's no slight on Maverick. I actually enjoy some of the gameplay on Maverick, but I do think it's not as good a deck as Elves for what it's worth. Just play Thrun instead of Progenitus. Yeah, some of my best friends actually do play Maverick. I know Jacob Corey is an old school Maverick player too, and so is D-Sit. Troll Elves. So I would say without the crop rotation, like I know what's called Eternal Glory called this version of the deck like bad Maverick or whatever, but I don't think they're aware of the crop rotation package, and I think it completely changes how this deck functions because this. Again, maybe I should pay Jack's royalties, like I said, because this card is absurd. And I think you only have to play one time with this list to see how insane this card is. Okay, I think that is it. Any questions, chat? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and send you over to one of the other streams. I mean, I don't think grinding is one of the issues with this deck, Jacob, but nice thought, though. I have secretly wanted to play Primeval Titan just because of just because you can natural order for it. No problem, anytime. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. And if you did not enjoy it, please let me know what I could do better. I'll try to improve as a streamer. Granted, I don't have too many reps because it's usually like once a week, if anything. No problem, Jacob. I'm glad you were able to drop by, man. It's and one of these days we gotta catch up definitely in the SoCal area once things open up. Dragon Lord Atarka. That's pretty hilarious. All right, I'm gonna go and send you guys over to Chase now.